and organised. I'm reading out the script so I don't forget. Thank you very much for having me. The first time I gave a speech about Microtia was back in 2014 in the launch. And now, when I was just 9 years old, and I remember nervously taking the microphone and feeling so proud to talk about my life and just being a regular kid who happened to just have Microtia. At 9 years old, I didn't let having Microtia define me or stop me doing all the same things as other kids like football, basketball, swimming, listening to music, and now nearly at 18, I still don't. I've always known that having a little ear may be a bit different from everyone else, but Mum always told me that everyone has something about them that makes them different. Some things we can see and some things we can't. No one is perfect. Microtia isn't who I am. I am Matthew, and once I realised this, my confidence grew in myself. It's just an ear and just a hearing loss, neither of which have made any difference in my development into a regular teenager, or ever stopped me doing anything I wanted to do growing up. Microtia atresia is a condition I was born with, and for whatever reason I can't change that, but what I can do and have done is accept it as part of what makes me me. I thank my mum and her get-on-with-it attitude for that. Mum has never let me see that having Microtia was a problem, or let me feel sorry for myself, embarrassed or different from other kids. Mum also never tried to hide my little ear, and I'm proud to show it to people. In fact, it always amuses me when I talk to people after a gig and I tell them about my Microtia and they hadn't even noticed, and I find myself showing them my ear. It just goes to show that actually most people don't notice because they see me as Matthew playing the violin. I won't deny that throughout my 18 years I've come across some bullies or some people that stare or ask the most stupid questions, such as, "Where's your son's ear?" To which my dad once replied, "Oh my God, thank you for telling us. I'm sure we had it this morning. Will you help us look for it?" At school, most children didn't take much notice of my ear or hearing aid, but there were a few nasty kids who did pick on me or call me names, or ask stupid questions. I tried not to let them bother me or let them see me getting upset, as I was never going to let them win. I used to say, "What's your problem? I was born like this," or "I may have an ear, but at least I have manners." But my favourite reply was to tell them my hairdresser cut it off. Sometimes I would pretend to have lost my ear and get them looking for it. Mum and Dad always taught me to use humour in these situations, and I learned early on in life, thanks to them both, to stand proud of who I am and ignore those who find enjoyment in mocking or rudeness. I've learned that there are bullies everywhere in life. Although having one ear made me an obvious easy target for some at school, those bullies would have picked on anyone about anything. That's just what bullies do. So if I didn't have one ear, I would no doubt have been bullied for the colour of my hair or what trainers I was wearing. The first thing I would say to any parent out there worried about their child may be a victim of bullying. It happens and can happen at any age or situation, whether school, work, playground, in the street, or even at home. And yes, it makes me very angry, but my mum taught me not to be intimidated, be confident in myself, and never let a bully ruin your life. We just have to accept that there are some very unkind people in this world and ignore them. As I've said, I thank my mum, and I truly do. I know that having a baby with Microtia atresia was a real shock for her and very upsetting. Mum has told me that the hospital staff treat her like a freak show with consultants and staff coming in to see the one-eared baby. Mum said she should have started selling tickets to view me. I know that both Mum and Dad spent many early years worrying for my future and whether I would be able to do this or do that. They had never known anyone with one ear or even heard of the word Microtia. Back in 2005, when I was born, this charity, Microtia UK, didn't exist, and Mum was very much left frantically searching the internet and pestering medical staff for information. And now I just think how fortunate you all are that this charity exists, because the one thing my mum could have really have needed was to meet someone else with Microtia or another parent in the same situation. During my first few months, Mum went through a whole lot of emotions, from the upset of a childhood disability to anger and resentment. She even lost a few friends who kept their distance because they felt awkward seeing Jan's one-eared baby and didn't know what to say. If Mum could only have seen the 17-year-old Matthew back in 2005, she shouldn't have wasted her time stressing and worrying. A turning point for my mum was a visit from a health visitor who said I would not run like other kids because of balance, play football because of a hearing loss, and have delayed speech, etc. My parents bluntly showed her the door and told her to come back when she has something positive to say. For Mum, that was the incentive to realise it was just an ear missing and just a hearing loss, and this is the attitude I've been brought up with and maintained to this day. I know that there are many children who just have to live with far worse disabilities or illnesses, so I think how lucky I am just to have Microtia. I don't care about looking different, as it's my little ear. My parents taught me that Microtia is what makes me who I am, and I can do anything I want to, just like any other kid. When I was a toddler, a friend gave me a balance bike which I took to straight away, and very soon progressed into a normal bike without stabilisers. Riding a bike with that friend was a huge part of my childhood, and the same friend later brought me a unicycle. I also played football for a local team, taking part in many matches and winning a few trophies along the way. So much for that health visitor. I went to a normal mainstream primary school where I used a Baha linked to a radio aid that my teacher wore. This helped me hear the teacher better so I didn't miss things if there was a lot of background noise. Mum always told me never to be embarrassed to ask the teacher as many times as I needed to if I hadn't heard something, because I had the right for the information just like the other kids in my class. Over the years I became confident at asking people to repeat things if I hadn't heard something. Since the age of 12 I was home educated, receiving one-to-one lessons via online learning, and I loved it. I've used the Baha, which I only use in certain situations because I actually prefer life without it, particularly when it comes to playing my violin, as I find the Baha sounds quite a distraction. Growing up, there are advantages to having one ear, like at Halloween when I covered my little ear in fake blood and made it part of my scare act. And of course, when Mum asked me to tidy my room and do my homework, I would confidently say, "Sorry Mum, you're speaking to the wrong ear." When I was at primary school, we were asked to write a poem about senses. So I wrote a poem about having Microtia and called it Proud to Be Me. I know that some of you may have heard this poem before, but I would love to read it to you, and I'm still delighted that Microtia UK used the poem for their strapline. Do you want to hear it? The poem's called Proud to Be Me. Sometimes I find it hard to hear, because I was born with a little ear. I have 2 eyes so I can see, but my one ear makes me me. Stupid people sometimes stare, but I pretend I don't care. I don't always catch every sound of what goes on in the world around. Please speak loud and please speak clear, because if you don't, I can't hear. If I ignore you when you speak, it's because I'm deaf, not a freak. It's my little ear and my identity is who I am, and I'm proud to be me. For me, learning to play the violin has given me the means to gain confidence and be Matthew English's violinist, not just Matthew English with a little ear. I was just 7 years old when I began to play the violin, so it's been a huge part of my life. My self-esteem and confidence grew as I found I could be good at something. Playing the violin and performing made me realise early on that most people see the person, not the hearing loss. If people like what I see and they listen to me, they rarely notice my ear. I quite often forget about my little ear entirely. I believe that everything happens for a reason. If I hadn't been born with Microtia, I wouldn't have done many of the things that I have done, or met so many lovely people, and I certainly wouldn't be playing the violin or want to pursue music as a career. I hope that playing the violin helps raise awareness of hearing loss and encourage others with the same condition to know that they can succeed and not let their difference or disability hold them back from what they want to do. Follow your dreams. It made me realise what I can achieve, and I'm now confident and proud of my little ear and who I am. Over the years, I've been asked many times if I wanted reconstruction. It is something I've talked to Mum about but never thought I wanted or needed. It's my little ear and part of who I am, so I don't want to lose it. If surgery could bring me back the hearing that I don't have on that side, maybe it'd be worth it, but it can't. The weird thing is, if I take a selfie on my phone, the picture's reversed with an ear on the right side, so I don't recognise myself. I'm hugely thankful that my mum never forced reconstruction when I was younger, even though she'd wanted to initially, but left the decision entirely to me, as it's my little ear, my body, and my decision. In fact, I love my little ear, as people tend to remember me more as the one-eared violinist. It's quite a cool trademark to have, as there aren't many one-eared violinists. I've often asked what I would, if I'd want 2 ears, or not to have Microtia. My honest answer is no, I'm happy just how I am. If I didn't have Microtia, I wonder sometimes what I would be doing now, as having one ear and a hearing loss has actually given me the chance to learn the violin and develop a passion for playing. Nothing gives me more satisfaction and enjoyment from making people happy when I play. To know that my music can touch people's emotions, whether it's at festivals or a market, parties, weddings, open mic nights, or even at the local pub. It's so rewarding to be able to share my music, and above all, I enjoy playing. Having Microtia has given me the opportunity to meet many different people and hopefully make a difference to people's lives, whether from listening to music or seeing that their child will just be fine. As well as performing, I hope to pursue a music career that would enable me to pass forward the knowledge and skills to other kids, whether hearing or hearing impaired, who would not have otherwise had the opportunity to have music in their lives. I feel honoured and proud to be part of Microtia UK launch since 2014. And to all the new parents out there, remember, your child may have Microtia, but Microtia doesn't have them. Having Microtia and a hearing loss is not a barrier to achieving your dreams. Thank you very much.